Action video to Matt. Even though he wasn't going to make any more videos on the subject, he sort of did make another video on the subject, sort of unrelated, but sort of related. So anyway, yeah, you really have to see this last video. To all you detractors, who've been defending Matt, oh, he's not against science, he's not the, yes, he is. Okay, it makes it pretty damn clear. Okay, so he basically says that science is for technology. That's what science is for. Science is for doing. You don't do science to learn. You do science to do. Okay, so if you need to make something, you need to make a new little widget, new little thing so you can hear better or something like that. That's what you do science for, but you don't do science just to learn. Charles Darwin wasn't trying to learn anything. He was really trying to work on the formula for Tang. That was really what he was seeing. Even before the moon launch, he had Tang in his head. It was already in the mind of man to invent Tang. And that was really what Charles Darwin was after. He wasn't after the truth. He was just after Tang. He wanted to be able to make Tang. I mean, it's just so fucking stupid to have this argument, where Matt is telling us now, Matt is, I'm the draconian horrible force telling people what they must believe, and these assholes are telling me now what science is. And science is about technology, and this is the procedure you go through, and this is what it's for, and it's a tool, and peer review, and all this. It doesn't have, it doesn't have to be peer review. It can be anybody review. Anybody who can find a logical flaw in a scientific theory wins the prize. They don't have to be a peer, okay? They can be anybody. It can be a homeless man that can say, I think you're wrong. 2 + 3 does not equal 4. And if they can demonstrate it, they win, okay? The science loses. Fuck that bullshit. And science isn't about just technology. Science is about discovering the truth. It's about defining the truth. Over 10,000 years of science, we have acquired an understanding of how the universe works, how the world works, the mechanics of our existence. And we didn't do it just because we were looking for something to build out of it or something to gain from it. We were doing it because we wanted to know the truth. And that's what Charles Darwin defined a big hunk of, okay? It was something people were already speculating about, but he defined it in a logical proof. He demonstrated it in a form that people can't dispute. There's no holes they can poke in it, but you people want to try to poke holes in it, but you can't. The theory of natural selection is as strong now as it was 150 years ago. We haven't poked a single lousy stinking hole in it. At best, we've added a little bit of dimension to it because we've understand what chromosomes are and Mendel-Dick probability experiments, and so we have some more knowledge, but nothing's changed the natural selection scenario that led to the development, our creation, okay? We came from that damn soup, all right? And that's our ancestry, and that's just a fact of our existence, and nobody has challenged that fact with anything logical or scientific. So anyway, yeah, so Matt goes pretty clear. It's like, he's calling us technology bandwagon, us people who jumping on the old technology bandwagon because we think we can use technology to fix things in the world. And so it's a dangerous, violent religion, this technology thing. So he's talking just like a Zach, like ignorance is bliss, that there really isn't any point in struggling with life. We should just embrace it. We should just live it, that it has its own virtue. We shouldn't even be analyzing its virtue. Even though we came from a swamp, even though our origins are a cesspool, we shouldn't pause for a minute and say, holy shit, does this make sense? No. And we shouldn't try to do that in a manner where we try to ascertain the truth. And he says, science is always a work in progress. I love this line. We keep using this line. We can't know, we won't know, we'll never know. But it's bullshit. We do learn, okay? We know things. We know the world isn't flat. We know a lot of fucking stuff. We know thunder isn't Thor. There's a lot of stuff we know. And it's just stupid to keep saying it's always this work in progress and we can't know anything. Bullshit. There's a time when you know enough. And I think we know enough to draw some conclusions about how we got here and now what the fuck we are. And I would say one of the conclusions I've drawn is that we are bacteria with brains, that we are fucking nothing more than a heroin addict. The need and desire, the addiction is built into us in our very construction, in the DNA fucking blueprint, and and we're just living out that reality. It's just, you know. So anyway, Matt ends his video talking about how it's wrong for us to be dissecting, you know, to learn. We have to interfere in the reality to learn, you know. So we have to dissect cells and things like that. Oh my God, what a horror. You know, I mean, come on. Of course we have to influence the reality to measure it, to understand it, to see it, but it's the influence, what is gleaned and where it is stored in our brain is not directly connected. Okay, it's a thought, an idea, an understanding. Once a piece of knowledge is created, it's no longer interacting with the environment. It's only interacting with your own sensibilities. You know, and that's the other part he says. It's back to this subjective-objective crap again. He just thinks there's no way we can objectively understand our subjective experience. We can't objectively describe what we are subjectively. And it's just stupid. Of course we can. We can understand that we're psychological animals, that we're motivated and compelled by these forces imposed on us, these forces of desire and attraction and want and need, you know, and we can understand that psychology. We can pick it to pieces and understand it for what it is. And it's just stupid to say that we can't draw any objective conclusions about our subjective psychology. And then he ends with some kind of idiotic thing that corporations shouldn't be allowed to own organisms. You know, he's allowed to own a dog, but a corporation can't own a bacteria. And I'm sure he still eats meat. I don't think Matt's a vegetarian, so you know, he certainly doesn't have a problem owning some food and treating it horribly to get it into his mouth. So I mean, this is just idiotic. You know, he's talking about how, you know, cells are conscious, and that's why you can't fuck with them, because they have a destiny. And he even used the word pain. You know, oh, they might not have much pain, but they have pain. You know, a cell has pain. Where do you get that from? I mean, what book of assery did that come out of? I mean, come on. Shit. Well, anyway, so this conversation is kind of over. I mean, he's revealed himself for what he is, so I can sort of let it go. I mean, he's crazy, and so I'll move on to be serious in her channel policy. You know, and her accusation that I don't know what you know, epigenetics is. Look, the links she linked to, the scientist told her exactly what it is, and then it's all written in the DNA. The epigenetic protein arrangements, all that crap, it's still part of the DNA molecule. An embryo, you know, takes the female's chemistry with it, with its DNA originally, but then it changes its own DNA, changes the proteins, so it takes control of its epigenetic future. But whatever, you know, this isn't worth arguing about, because it has absolutely nothing to do with natural selection, which is something also the scientists said. This has nothing to do with Darwin. It has nothing to do with natural selection. It's no threat to that theory. And so these people who keep talking about Darwin being a 150-year-old religion, well, no, they're full of shit, and they have no respect for what science is, and apparently low respect for Charles Darwin's work. So fuck that. Fuck the whole conversation. So yeah, and she also says somehow I guess apparently I have an obligation to tell all my subscribers not to be bad people, and not to make threats, and not to do nasty things. You know, somehow it's my obligation to tell them that, because she's somehow been, you know, affronted by my minions, somehow at my direction, as that's her implication, even though she has no evidence of any of that. I stay away from her videos, never one-starred any of her videos, never commented recklessly or indecently on any of her videos, ever. So what's her argument with me? Nothing. There's no argument with me. So fuck the implication. I'm not responsible what a few hotheads do. That's their problem, not my problem. You You know, and so it's just such a joke, though. You know, these people make all these accusations, and then she's sitting there 5-starring and communicating on a video. This questioner mark of God, you know, made some idiotic video where she was basically complimenting or engaging in the buffoonery funniness of this asshole makes a video, you know, where I'm eating chocolate, which, you know, they're saying is shit, you know, and it's just very funny. You know, it's like an old Caddyshack joke. I mean, you know, this is 10-year-old humor, 7-year-old humor. I mean, I don't know what level it falls on. And that's the level. This is what To Be Serious sees as a refined and dignified piece of debating. You know, fuck you. I mean, what a goddamn hypocrite. You're really such a fucking joke. You really are ludicrous. And to question mark of God, yeah, look, you know, we'll see what happens in the lawsuit. And if things go the wrong way, you know, you're going to be such an easy target. I mean, you're rounder than you are tall. You know, you talk about a shit eater. Yeah, I'm sure you've done your share, and you will be doing your share in video format. All right, coming to a theater near you. All right, you are what you associate with, and you'll get yours.